fundamental productivity and the economic enabler upon which modern economies are based. Greater benefits will be delivered if the above identified processes can be streamlined, simplified, with tariffs considerably adjusted downward. This will certainly provide a developmental springboard for the state. The level of business development and empowerment that is possible with communities with robust ICT infrastructure cannot be quantified for its huge rippling effect on other sectors. Indeed, as an enabler of e-government, a concessionary tariff for right-of-way is advocated. Rights-of-way in such arrangements are granted on payment of reduced sums. Concession on the provision of connectivity and capacity to state government institutions, schools, hospitals, police stations, local government headquarters, tax offices, etc., in such connected cities, among others. This is opposed to the current practice of the immediate outright payment of huge sums with no connectivity. Examples of these models are operational in Singapore and India, among others. Singapore is arguably today a leading example of the use of ICT for national development. I am convinced the time to lay the egg for today's economic breakthrough is now. Let the egg not be eaten. Let it hatch and produce more eggs. The development of human capacity is likened to nourishing the goose that lay golden eggs. There is therefore need for government to develop programs that will build the capacity of young school leavers and enhance their access to broadband services. Access to broadband implies access to information, which is today widely available in the cyberspace, and a crucial requirement in people's development. This will in turn impact on people by making them entrepreneurs and employers rather than dependents on government for employment. It will also position the people with the skills and know-how to develop vital applications to support telemedicine, distance learning, tax management, for example. In conclusion, government support at all levels is imperative and a vital recipe in bringing the values of modern communication technology to bear in the heartbeat of the nation. Towards this goal, the following roadmap is recommended for consideration of government and policymakers. 1. ICT operating companies should be considered as partners in progress and development. There is need for reappraisal, review, and harmonization of taxes and levies. Approval processes for the sites required by operating companies should be simplified. Environmental impact assessment regimes for new infrastructure development need to be simplified and harmonized. These have been identified to constitute significant delay in operator site deployment. Robust e-governance applications need to be developed. Tax regimes must be computerized and connected to ensure that revenues are properly collected, documented, and tracked. Programs that will enhance access of use to ICT tools and services need to be developed and implemented. There must be a program targeted at ICT skills development for youths at the state and local government levels. E-payment must be institutionalized to prevent financial leakages. Operations should be automated to save cost of governance, prevent wastage and leakages, and enhance internally generated revenues as a complement to the federal allocation. In some states today, notifications are communicated immediately a vehicle is registered. The review of the Evidence Act should be supported. The need to enhance ICT cannot be overemphasized. Tapping the gains is reciprocal to the amount of investments made. To fully tap into such gains, all hands must be on the deck. to ensure meaningful and speedy investment in the state. This shall be investment for our leaders yet unborn. And in conclusion, I'd like to say that I see Edo State in the right. Let's see.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I crave your indulgence to stand on existing protocols that has been observed, and I bring you felicitations from the Director General, National Pension Commission, M.K. Ahmad, who is unavoidably absent in this event today. So we are looking at what is social security. Do we have anything called social security in Nigeria? What has the Pension Reform Act done to Nigerians? And how do you use ICT to promote social security? What challenges are we facing, and how do we make further progress? I would like to start with the definition of social security given by the International Social Security Association as any program of social protection established by legislation or any other mandatory arrangement that provides individuals with a degree of income security when faced with the contingencies of old age, incapacity, disability, unemployment, or rearing of children. It may also offer access to curative or preventive medical care. Do we have social security systems in Nigeria? Yes, we have, because social security is not limited to paying unemployment benefits as you get in advanced countries. In the country, we have started with a contributory pension scheme, which was introduced by the Pension Reform Act in 2004. We have the defined benefit system for pensioners and exempted employees in the public sector. We have occupational pension schemes in some private sectors. Some big organizations have been running their own pension schemes, setting out huge sums of money to pay their workers when they stop work. We have the health insurance scheme, we have life insurance scheme, and we have employee compensation scheme, which is being anchored by the NSITF to make sure that workers that have injuries or permanent incapacities while working are taken care of. What have we done post-2004? The Pension Reform Act was enacted and established the contributory pension scheme. It also established the National Pension Commission, and the contributory pension scheme covered employees of federal government of Nigeria and the FCT. But some state governments have also started implementing the contributory pension scheme, like Lagos State, Kano State, Niger State, and a whole lot of others. We have 14 states already doing the contributory pension scheme, and a lot more are enacting their laws at this time, including Edo State. In the private sector, the CPS makes it mandatory for any employer that has 5 employees or more to run the contributory pension scheme. Also, there are legacy schemes that are running. Some large companies that have their own pension schemes are also accommodated under the approved existing schemes and closed pension fund administrators. The features of the contributory pension scheme: individuals are allowed to open retirement savings accounts. And this retirement savings account, they can monitor the inflows into the account and see how their monies are being invested. So the era of your retiring and you don't have access to your funds is a thing of the past. It is privately managed. The pension fund administrators administer these funds, and the funds are being kept by the custodians. There is separation of duties to make sure that nobody does fraud with the funds. Also, these funds are strictly regulated and supervised. That is why the stock exchange, when it had problems, the pension funds were not seriously affected, because the National Pension Commission ensures that the funds are well regulated and invested in such a way that they will not just go underground overnight. What safeguards have we done to the system? We have effective regulations and guidelines, strict supervision of the industry, And the federal government contributes its own quota through the Consolidated Revenue Fund. And you may want to ask, what happened pre-2004? There is what we call transitional arrangement. So the federal government provides money every month through the Consolidated Federation account to take care of retirement benefits of staff pre-2004. So by the time you are retiring, we compute your money before 2004 and join it with what you have contributed after 2004. So the journey so far, we have, in the contributory pension scheme, over 4.5 million registered employees contributing actively. The journey is still a long way ahead because we know that Nigerians that are working are much more than this, and we are driving it hard now through the private sector. You can see the growth of the pension assets as at May 2011 is standing at 2.2 trillion naira. So with this kind of growth in the assets, you can use them to do meaningful economic development in the country. How do we use ICT to promote social security? Promote efficient delivery of social security services to citizens. To do that, you must automate. For you to achieve greater administration and operation efficiencies, even within the organization, it has to be ICT-driven. How can we make social security services available anytime and anywhere and build trust and confidence in the system? If you have your RSA and you can't lay hands on the balances of the account at any time, then what we are telling you may be stories. And for you to have access to that, then ICT comes into play, both in keeping track of the investments and in also keeping individual accounts, just like what happens in the banking sector. ICT as an effective supervisory tool assists the Pension Commission to monitor the operations of the scheme, and it enables it to dictate early problems that may occur in the scheme. It also allows us to avoid risk and allocate resources. It enables the supervisors to be proactive and take timely corrective actions to make sure that the safety of the assets are guaranteed. ICT, of course, facilitates generation of statistics for effective planning, and it reduces the cost of supervision through off-site analysis. Because what the Commission does and aims at improving is receiving daily input from the operators on everything they're doing. With that, you don't need to go to the sites of these operators to determine what they're doing, and you can effectively supervise the industry. In the Commission, we maintain a comprehensive national database on pension matters. The Commission also maintains a 24/7 operation of its data center, and robust communication links are maintained to send and receive information online from the pension fund operators. The Commission is a relatively young organization, and from the onset, it was designed to be IT-driven, and it has always been IT-driven. The deployment of decision support systems provide a way to model and understand complex data and make quality decisions based upon those data. For effective administration of the pension in the country, the PFAs and the operators have had to deploy massive ICT infrastructure to make sure that they keep track of these retirement savings accounts and make sure that the pension funds are appropriately invested. What challenges do we face? Lack of unique system of identification of customers or beneficiaries of social security services, including security of privacy and personal data. Every Nigerian, we all know that we don't have a unique way of identifying a Nigerian. That's why the work that National Identity Management is doing should be hurried up so that we can have a unique way of identifying people. Weak ICT infrastructure has been mentioned, occasioned by a lack of adequate power and telecommunication facilities. Inadequate ICT skills and expertise. The nature of our work in the Commission, the pension scheme is a bit unique to Nigeria, and most of the projects we have to do has had to be done for the Commission. You don't have off-the-shelf applications that does exactly what the Commission wants to do. So we have to develop our applications from the scratch, and it is challenging to have the requisite IT skills to do that. We're running out of time, so let's look at how do we make further progress. We need to seek and obtain strong political will, as exemplified by Edo State today. We need to create synergy between political leadership and IT expertise by upgrading the leadership of IT skills. We need to secure comprehensive IT strategy, like the one NIDA is doing for the country, but it has to be cascaded even up to the organizational level. We need to be planning. We have to stop rushing through things and making mistakes. Government should promote and encourage the development of IT skill and expertise in public service and society. And as the country is addressing its mind to e-governance, attention should be focused on IT literacy to create demand and need for IT services. We need to promote development of ICT infrastructure through functional utilities, just like starting with ICT clusters and parks, community ICT centers, where our youth shall be empowered. In the long run, consider the development of integrated ICT systems for various social security services to leverage on economies of scale and ensure meaningful, secure, and affordable service delivery. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate your contribution. Once again, we would like to welcome you to this great event. The man who is making Edo State to work, the man who has done so much for our people, the man that is making dreams real. May I invite Comrade Adams Aliu Oshomole, MNI.
Woman. Have your seat, please. The honorable commissioners here present, special advisors, our very special guests, arguably the most brilliant woman in Nigeria, my own comrade and our own daughter, Mrs. Okaro, who is also my in-law now, the chairman of our economic team, participating executive directors from various ICT companies, ladies and gentlemen, there is a 10-page dissertation which I believe Yemi Kerry and Olaito sat to put together for me to read. But I think I'm not going to do justice if I attempt to read it, because it has been overtaken by events. First, everything Yemi asked me to say, she decided to reveal in her remarks. And it's there obvious in trying to read it that I am reading something written for me by someone else. Now, this I will report to the Attorney General to look at the law. But talking seriously, I want to thank all our guests, including my comrade who has left. He has had to attend to other very important state matters in Lagos, but he had to squeeze time to be here because he identified with us. So I ask you to give a round of applause to Governor Babatunde. No, applause for each of the names. Governor Babatunde, Raji, Fashola. He has been very supportive, and there is nothing wrong in one admitting that on assumption of office, we decided to go to Lagos to do some apprenticeship. And I think we have graduated. We appreciate his coming all the way from Lagos to Abuja, and even bringing me from Abuja to Benin. I want to appreciate Mrs. Okaro for coming all the way from Abuja. I know this is a very busy time for her. And not only coming to Abuja, from Abuja, but delivering a very powerful speech. And like I told her, the reaction from the crowd shows that she managed to touch those things that seems to have burdened many of our people. And first, I like to dissociate myself from any policy which Yemi may have executed, such that the permanent secretaries and directors have the computers staring at them, while the younger officers don't have computers to play with. This is clearly unacceptable. And Mrs. Okaro has succeeded in inciting the people exactly the same way as I used to do against government. But just to say that if I had known that this is what Yemi was doing, I would have stopped her. But now that we know, we will set up by a committee of inquiry to find out the immediate and remote cause of this distortion in the distribution of and access to computers. But Madam, we are very thankful that you came and for all that your very enlightening presentation. I think for many of us it was quite enriching. And from the reaction of the crowd, there is no doubt that your message was very well received. We want to continue to appreciate you, appreciate the innovation you brought into tax collection. Edo State is both a victim of your efficiency as well as a beneficiary. We are a beneficiary in the sense that what now accrues to us from VAT, value-added tax, is much more than was the case before you assume office. So we are a net beneficiary of your efficiency. But on a lower tone, we are also a victim in the sense that some of the taxes which PDP government failed to remit to Abuja before you assume office, now with your torchlight you have discovered them and you are now asking us to pay. But we will settle out of court. But I appreciate you a lot. I think you are one Nigeria who, from the first time we met, during the Vision 2010, I was proud when I was told that you are from Edo State. But there was a young lady who can arrest very senior chief executives, not only of local companies, but even multinational companies, taking us through the whole process of planning. You know, remember the critical success factors. And I learned so much from you in the NSC. And I used some of the things I learned, some of the critical success factors in organizing strikes and protests. I deployed them ruthlessly. And today you have done it again. I want to appreciate you and I wish you journey masses back to Abuja. Let me also appreciate all the participating companies that have come to identify with us today. Both those who had the opportunity to make presentations which were very educative, as well as those who, I believe, played the more difficult role of sitting and listening. We want to thank you for identifying with us, and we hope you will be part of this annual event in the future. Let me make one confession. When Mrs. Okaro talked about someone who went for training and came back. I was asking the secretary to quick help type a letter. I was like, somebody in my office must have revealed something about me to her. But for the fact that she quickly mentioned that the person was there and it didn't look like me, I was like, somebody is revealing state secret to Abuja. I am like an old man who didn't have the benefit of Western education, but who appreciate that education is powerful, and decided to deploy all the savings from cassava farm, from cocoa, from palm oil that accrues to the family to train the children. So even though as I may not be able to describe myself as computer literate, I appreciate the use of computers. We can't continue to do business the way it has been. And that was why on assumption of office, I mentioned to Godwin that the kind of changes we want to drive in Edo State will be such that we will need to go beyond the way we used to do it during Mogo Park days. We must take advantage of modern technology to improve on our communication. When I hear governors and employers talking about ghost workers, it is something strange in the 21st century. How can you count ghosts? How can you even see a ghost? If you can count them, then they are not ghosts. But these are labels we have used to describe the inadequacies in our public administration, the deficiencies in salary administration, some arising from natural weaknesses of continuous reliance on paperwork where we can digitalize operations. Today in Edo State, we have made a lot of savings. And I'm sure we will continue to make savings from our modest investment in ICT. In fact, just last week, Yemi helped to, I don't know where she found them. She found some 40 dead persons who, because of the kind of lifestyle they led while they were alive, they appear to have had this advantage of waking up on payday only for the purpose of collecting pension. And once they have collected, they return to their grave. And they have been able to do this for quite some time. But these men who wakes up every 30 days to collect pension, they don't like the sight of ICT. And once Yemi carry her biometrics and insists on e-payment to pensioners, look at the damage she has done. These 40 persons now remain permanently dead. But that is not the only thing. Those who received them when they woke up, we have now given the inquiry to explain how they were making payment to these people who should now be classified as our ancestors. I think there is so much that we can do, and there is a lot that we still have to do. Let me assure our public servants that within our very limited resources, we will continue to see how we can apply resources to deepen ICT and to get our people to internalize ICT. Like I said, even if I am not computer literate, I know the value. And I'm not the only one. I listened to Tony Blair, and that encouraged me to also disclose my status. Tony Blair narrated the fact that he can make a phone call with his handset, he can send a text message, but he can't tweet, and few other things that children can do. I think Powell, in his last visit to Nigeria, as guest of, I believe, Tell magazine, also disclosed that he knows too little about ICT compared to his own children. So if these world statesmen are not so literate, there is nothing wrong about my own relative illiteracy in this respect. I also realize that part of the problem of our young graduates is that we have so many of them who are unemployed. But most of them are also probably not employable. But I found that with the ICT unit and the training opportunity we are provided, as Yemi pointed out in the morning, we are now net exporter of ICT experts. Some young boys and girls we pick off the unemployment and exposed to some form of training under 6 months. Those of them that are bright, I think last week Yemi told me that one of them got a job in Lagos, attracting an annual salary, a monthly salary of about 500,000 naira a month, or 6 million naira per annum, almost much more than the governor ever received. They don't believe that. All right. Now with the Freedom of Information Act, you have the right to ask the governor to publish his pay slip so that you can confirm what I earn. I might be going on strike soon if they don't do something about it. I'm informed by the director of ICT that we've encouraged young people to be part of this event because for us, we are not looking at just the contributions of big companies to technology. We're also looking at young ones who can be spared to show more interest, in this area. And we thought that one way of doing that is to bring them in to participate, engage in a healthy competition and reward some of them that have shown some aptitude that we think can be built upon in the future. Like I said, I'm not going to make a speech because everything that I needed to say has been said by Yemi and a few others who spoke before me. It remains for me to just appreciate all of you who have come to be part of this and to assure you that we will sustain this annual event. We'll find a way to improve in the way in which it is organized and create some other set attractions so that every year there will be something new in our Technology Day. I welcome you all to Benin, and I do hope that you have enjoyed the one-day outing. Thank you, and God bless.
Can we give a standing ovation to our governor? The man who is rebuilding Edo State. Thank you very much, sir. If you have a copy of...
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Toyosi Akirele, and coming back to Benin after 2 years, Edo State looks like a place where the slogan should be, if you don't have anything to do, don't do it here. From the fervor of the people and the quality of leadership that is shown by Governor Adams Oshiomhole. It's the reason why we should advocate that more young people should be in government. That digital, analog people cannot come into the 21st century to come and do digital things anymore. I just want to say that youth is a state of pending responsibility. It was never a state of limitation. And sometimes I keep wondering why 85-year-olds want to deliberate on a future they are not going to be part of. When I was coming to this program this morning, I put it on Facebook and Twitter. I said I was coming to Benin for the Edo State Technology Day. And young Edo State people should tell me what they wanted me to tell the governor of Edo State. Governor Oshiomhole, the first thing I'd like to ask you is that the next time I come to Benin, I would like to see libraries everywhere. Young people need to read. Because leaders are not made in the classrooms. Leaders are results of consensus and conflicts. Leaders are results of vision and division. It is important that we do not allow the youth to rot away. Because happiness is not the mere receiving of money. It is important that you understand that the generation of Nigeria today need to be taught that bling bling without economic empowerment is like a woman in forced labor. She will go into the labor room and come out empty. And so you need to speak the language of our generation. Bling bling means those long chains that young people wear. But bling bling without economic empowerment is like a woman in forced labor. She will go into the room and come out empty. It is important that young people, young Nigerians are given a chance. And they are taught that what we need is not help. What Nigerian young people need is a platform. I've got the chance to meet with some of the greatest leaders of the world. And the only thing that makes a Nigerian youth different from the average American youth is the enabling environment. It's the enabling environment. Everywhere I go, the greatest doctors, the lawyers, the people who make things happen in those communities are Nigerian young people. Last week, Michelle Obama recorded a video in the White House and said that everywhere she's gone as First Lady of America, she's inspired by the work that Toyosi is doing in Nigeria. So we are not, if you can take the young people off the streets, we cannot be products and be killed with guns that are used to buy by taxpayers' money just because some people have decided to live comfortably in their dysfunctions even when they did not win elections. I hear that they said that they've organized talent competition, and more than just the technology competition, it's important to emphasize quiz competitions. And I'm happy that a lot of people from private sector are here. We don't want to dance anymore.